I've never made a video like this in my life. Never even thought of it, but I still want to give everyone watching this a message. It does get better. It really does. So, when I was 11 or 12, COVID-19 has just quote-unquote arrived in my country. And even though for some people it was the most fun but maybe scary experience, for me it wasn't. I was also entering my teenage years at the time, and many of you should know that teenage years are not always easy. Now, I never really had any big family issues to begin with, other than the fact that I had a emotionally absent father and a young mother. You could say that I kind of grew up faster than I should have, and because of these details in my home, I basically grew up by myself and the internet at the age of 3. And unlimited exposure to the internet at a very young age has its own problems, and I'm sure a lot of us are very familiar with that. During my first teenage years, I was not in the best mental state. My father became very aggressive, and my mother would always find a reason to be against me. And of course, as a 12-year-old who didn't know better, I began hiding everything from them, in fear of getting hit, yelled at, or anything along those lines. I would spend a lot of time in Discord, meeting new people on a regular basis, because I thought that if my parents didn't want me, then maybe strangers could fill that void. And honestly, it did. I did feel like I somewhat mattered in the online friend groups I was a part of. But despite everything, the heavy emotional abuse at home did not ease anything. Now, I don't want to self-diagnose, but I think it's okay to assume that I had entered a depression state at the age of 12. I almost never spoke to my parents or brother unless it was very, very necessary to do so. I didn't go outside because, COVID-19, and all I would do is somewhat participate in online classes and then rot in bed all day and all night. My entertainment was always video games. Since the age of 5, I usually played video games on my dad's PC, and of course, while I rotted away in bed every single day, I used my phone to play all kinds of games. It was like oxygen to me because I would fixate really, really bad on them, to the point that my screen time was an average of 15 hours every day. And the thing is, my parents never even noticed this. No one said anything about my rotting, no one said anything about my screen time, and I thought this was normal. I was like, hey, my parents might not like me very much, but at least they let me stay on my phone. That means they kind of care, right? But I was still just a kid. I didn't know that I was getting neglected. I didn't know any better than this. But things only got worse. I experienced something that genuinely scares me to this day. My parents went through my phone and found Discord. And it's not like they found anything weird. Just kids being kids online. But they weren't happy. My dad especially. I tried to forget about this, but some fragments of that memory are still with me. I can remember my dad yelling and hitting me multiple times. My mom wouldn't even look, nor talk to me. But worst of all, I remember my dad saying that I am a disappointment and that I have no future. If you told me this, like right now, I wouldn't really care. But at 12, those words hit me like a physical blow, and ever since then, they would monitor my every move. Of course, this was the time when I learned how to properly hide things from them and steal my phone back when no one was looking. But they remind me of my misery every day by yelling and hitting me. Additional to that, they completely started neglecting me. My mom stopped cooking for me for a while so I could, quote-unquote, learn from my mistake. To this day, I still don't understand the point of what they were doing. I was just talking with some of my real-life friends and online friends. I don't think it was necessary to become abusive towards me, all while treating my brother like a prince, by the way. And I don't want to blame my brother at all, but I hated him. I really did. To me, it felt like I was a burden to the family, while he was the perfect son, and this is where all my suicidal thoughts began. It started by me thinking stuff like, If I wasn't here, I wouldn't have to go through this. To the point that I began venting in Discord servers every week about how my family kept becoming worse and worse. At one moment though, my dad was so angry at something that he let it out on me. "I will kill you." Those words shattered me. Imagine a 12-year-old child running around the house away from their dad because he's following them with a potential weapon. I wasn't doing anything at the time. I was just watching TV, and my dad was super upset over something. I don't know what went over him to go and attack me out of the blue, but it's something I will never forget. Not only was he emotionally unavailable for me, but now he also became emotionally abusive towards me. I promised I would kill myself for my 13th birthday. I assumed that if everything is going downhill, I might as well end it. My parents don't like me. Video games are the only thing keeping me alive. But my parents also said I have no future. There's no point in continuing, right? We go forward to the day of my 13th birthday. Actually, early morning. It's dark and everyone is asleep. I can remember myself heading to the kitchen and searching for a knife that would make it easier to, The moment I found that knife, I pointed at myself, but I was scared. Scared of the pain that I'd feel. Scared that despite hating my family, I'd frighten them with the thudding of my body hitting the floor at this early hour. So I stood there, staring at the knife for probably 2 minutes at most, and then I put it back. I was too scared to end my life, because I hated thinking of the pain I'd feel. But since then, everything only got worse. I often found myself having flashbacks of that moment, often found myself crying about it in silence, to the point that I'd get these vivid images of me harming myself. A majority of them was just me killing myself in different ways. It was so bad that I sometimes saw nightmares about it. Yes, I had friends to talk to at the time, but I felt like I didn't matter, like I was a waste of money, oxygen, food, everything. Every vent text I sent, I didn't listen too much to what the others had to say because I tell myself, it doesn't matter what they say, I will be dead by 15. Fast forward, I am 14. I still have a lot of suicidal thoughts swirling in my head, and I'm extremely dependent on my phone, texting and video games in specific, and my dad hasn't gotten any better. Our relationship only worsened. During this year, he did a lot to me, said a lot, did many things that I don't even feel comfortable sharing anymore. But something I will share is this one moment. I was cleaning the house, doing my chores, but apparently I was taking too long. I don't understand where that came from, but either way, my dad got super angry at me for that. He took the broom away from me and threatened to kill me. For a second time. Now, if you saw an angry man with a broom on his hands, saying he will kill you, I did not take that very lightly. I immediately began crying at that moment and ran to lock myself in the bathroom. I can still recall how he was shouting and banging on the door. If you want to die so badly, then let me do it for you. So he knew. He knew I was suicidal. He knew, and all he did was fuel the fantasy I had about ending my life. My mom managed to calm him down, but I was not. I was still very shaken up. And when no one was looking, I slipped away from the bathroom and ran outside of the house. I ran and luckily came across 3 of my friends. I don't know how I could have looked like, but I still remember their shocked reactions. It took about an hour till my dad found me and then dragged me home. He didn't yell, didn't hit me, he just grabbed my wrist and dragged me back home. As soon as we were home, he was threatening me to send me into a mental hospital, saying I needed a doctor and stuff like that. The worst thing about this was that this conversation lasted for a full 2 hours. And the worst of this was that even my mom took his side, saying I needed help. But if I really needed help, then why weren't you helping me? I'm your child. And for months, my parents were hyper aware of where I stood at, but I couldn't take it. During summer, at the age of 14, I made another attempt on running away. I spent one night away from home, and I texted my friend the following morning, saying that I ran and spent the night somewhere. They immediately told me to go back home, and I listened. I did as they said. And when my mom saw me, she actually cried for me. Cried when I came back. And for once, I felt like I kind of mattered. I went over at my friend's house after that and we just had a conversation. Despite everything, I was still in horrible shape. Well, mentally. I still got horrible vivid images of suicide. My dad still made everything worse for me. Every night I begged and hoped that somehow I would die in my sleep by someone, something, anything. I just wished to die without feeling pain, and realization hit me. What if I bought sleeping pills or sedative medication, however you call them? I thought maybe I would swallow a handful and hope that I'd finally die and release the burdens I've given my family. And so I did go to the pharmacy to get them, except they told me minors cannot buy from the pharmacy, at least the one I went at. That might have saved me, because after that I told myself, if I cannot live for myself, then maybe I will live for my friends. The conversation I mentioned earlier made me realize that my friends actually care about me, made me realize that some people, despite being small in number, actually want me alive. They'd grieve on my grave if I was dead, and possibly commit suicide as well if I was gone. I made up my mind. I will live. I will go through this hell we call life and stay alive, because I cannot bear the thought of my friends being depressed or even dying because of me. It was really tempting when I turned 15. My dad was still horrible to me, but my mom kind of softened up a little. But it did its magic on me. I started seeing myself in another perspective, told myself I needed to change, and I did. Not physically, but mentally. I became extroverted. I tried my best to get rid of my phone addiction, among other unhealthy addictions. I started being less shy in social situations. I made a full 360 degrees turn, for the best. If the world wasn't going to change, then I would change. I'd say at 15 was my journey on healing my inner self, despite what I had been through. Now I'm 18. 7 years ago, I was entering a mental state I thought I would never escape. The last time I got a suicidal thought was back in March. But here I am now. I'm good with my grades in school. I have a lot of friends, and I'm part of a bunch of friend groups. I've discovered many things and hobbies, and in about 9 months, I'll become an architecture student. I'm still working on my physical confidence, because sometimes I do not feel like I'm good looking, but that's okay, because at the end of the day, I'm still here. I'm alive, even though I promised I'd commit suicide at 13. And the thing that is shocking me is that my dad isn't as bad as before. He is a bit nicer, still a little cold at times, critical maybe, but he's not abusive anymore. Maybe it's because I'm an adult now. Maybe it's because he learned that his ways were wrong. I'm not sure, but at least he isn't threatening me. And my mom too. We got closer together, even though she can say some pretty stupid stuff once in a while. The point is, it does get better. Whether you enter depression at a very young age, or your early adulthood, or even in your 30s and up, it will get better. It's okay to talk to someone about your issues. It's okay to cry. Even if you're young and feel like there is no way out, remember that there are many, many years ahead of you.